I have been a terrible content creator. I have not filmed one thing from the second trimester, which is fine. The first trimester was so awful. I just really wanted to enjoy the second trimester, and I can definitely say I did. I had a lot more energy. She's been growing. All of our appointments have been fantastic. And I got sick the last 3 weeks. I ended up getting COVID, and then I caught a cold from my husband. So finally on the mend, which is great because I am about to start third trimester next week. I will be 27 weeks and 7 months pregnant, which is wild. This is definitely flying by. We are on our way to Women and Infants in Providence, Rhode Island for a birth class. This is not the hospital that I will be giving birth at. So it is all day. It's from 9:30 to 3:30. And they're going to be reviewing everything. So we have some pillows packed behind us, lotion, blankets, and kind of know what to expect because they did give us an itinerary. But I think it's going to be a lot of information. I don't know if it will be overwhelming, maybe a little bit for Jonathan, but I'm really excited to get some more knowledge for what we're about to experience in 3 months. We cannot escape the snow today. When we left for Providence, it was snowing, and as soon as we walked out today, it started snowing again. It's like it's following us. So that class was beyond informative. If you have the opportunity to take a childbirth prep class, I would highly recommend going to Women and Infants and taking Tracy's course. The 1-day course was amazing. It flew by. I don't know. I just found it very informative. I didn't find it coming off as so much information where I'm overwhelmed. I feel a lot more prepared. Jonathan feels the same exact way. The next thing on our docket is a prenatal appointment on Tuesday. So those are kind of, they're not pointless, but they're very quick. You go in and he asks how you're feeling. They check the heart rate and send you on your way. At least that's how it's been for the second trimester. So I'm curious to see if things are going to change now that it's third trimester. Are they going to start measuring my belly? I don't know, just what the hell is going on. One thing about me in this pregnancy is I do not give a crap what I look like. Jonathan and I just left my prenatal appointment. I think I mentioned this in my last check-in, but they're kind of pointless. Pointless is probably a terrible word because it's good to obviously be monitored throughout pregnancy. But you go in for 5 minutes. Right now, he's still just checking her heartbeat. My OB has not started measuring my belly yet. He checks for the heart rate, checks in to see how I'm feeling. I'm still great. Heartburn is really my only crux right now, and it's awful. So at one of my earlier prenatal appointments, I told him that I was at the point where I was taking 6 to 8 Tums a day. And that scared the shit out of him. That many Tums a day can cause kidney stones, which no one wants, especially while pregnant. He has me taking 2 Prilosec a day, 2 Pepsids a day. And then he's gonna have me start taking 1 Prilosec in the morning. So I have to go pick that up. I wasn't sure if I was going to keep having ultrasounds. So they just scheduled a growth ultrasound, which you get between 20 and 32 weeks. I think I'll be 29 weeks. All of my ultrasounds have been pretty fairly early in the time periods where you're supposed to get them. So that tracks. Curious to see how she's growing, how she's forming. Very excited, and he did say I'll have monthly ultrasounds up until I deliver. Speaking of delivery, it's definitely hitting me that I'm going to be holding a baby in 3 months. My baby, our baby. I'm going to be a mother in 3 months. It's hitting me. And I lay in bed at night and I love feeling her. That's my favorite part of the second trimester is, and now third, but in pregnancy is feeling her move so much. I absolutely love it. And it hit me that that's going to be ending very soon. and I'll be holding her and I'll have to deliver her, which I know is such a short period of time in the span of my life and what her life will be. But yeah, I kind of started to get a little anxious thinking about having to deliver. So I need to start working on my anxiety and calming techniques, and I really want to look into hypnobirthing as well. What's coming up next, I go back to my OB on Monday and I will be doing my glucose test. I'm really bad with textures. I can't swallow pills. I'm a little nervous and I'm not trying to psych myself up and already make it awful. And they will also do blood work, one to see if I pass my glucose test, and the other is for my ROGAM levels. Because of my blood type, I'm B negative, my body starts creating these antibodies. I'm not a medical person. If I'm saying this wrong, I'm sorry, but my body starts producing these things that can attack the baby. So they need to check how many my body has created, and then they will administer on Tuesday a ROGAM shot to kill whatever my body has produced to keep the baby safe. Glucose test this morning. Holy cow. I have a tendency to freak out over things that I don't need to freak out over, and then bigger things that I think would give people anxiety are a walk in the park for me. If I had to go present to 60 people right now and say they were all celebrities, it would literally be nothing for me. But the fact that I have to go chug like a 6-ounce sugary drink is scaring me. Make it make sense. Guess I'll give you a little bump update. My stomach's been super tight lately, and that just means that my uterus is growing. So it gets tight when it's expanding to make room for her. I'm typically a really big planner, so I am going to have a birth plan, and once I finalize that, I'll share it with you guys. But I'm not going crazy. So I'll have a birth plan for some of the bigger things, but I also understand that I chose my OB for a reason. He's been there with us through some of the darkest times, and I trust him completely. I trust the hospital that I will be giving birth at. I just don't want to go crazy with a birth plan when I trusted a provider and a care facility to take care of me. I don't want to undermine them, but I do want to be completely educated for what I'm about to go through, what's going on with my body, and what will happen to her as well. While I'm home and I have time to kill, I'll show you guest bedroom, aka future nursery. There's really nothing to show, but it'll be cool to see where it's at now and where it will be hopefully in like 2 weeks from now. Let me be very clear. Pregnancy brain is a thing. I will be in the middle of a conversation and my brain stops. The word could be bush, car, door, and I forget it. I literally cannot give you the definition, the word, nothing. In the middle of a sentence talking to people. It is crazy how much your brain changes while you're pregnant. It's not completely cleared out, but this was our fully furnished guest bedroom, but here we have a closet. We're gonna have to convert that for her and figure out what to do with all of my husband's stuff. Another wall. We started filling in all of the holes, and he's gonna have to paint the trim because that's all scuffed up. We will be doing trim bright white, getting rid of that, painting the ceiling bright white. And then we are going to be using this as a wallpaper, so only on half of the wall. And I decided to go with Aged Beige by Bear. I felt like that was the closest that I could get for neutral. I was going to do one of these greens, but every time I laid it out in Canva or I did like this darker mauve, this is popping up really dark on camera. In person, it's not this dark. It was just too much, and I didn't want it to be overwhelming for me. I like lighter spaces, but I didn't want it to be like a sad beige room. I would say from here up will be wallpaper. From here down will be wainscoting, and every wall will be this full nude color. Crib here, I cannot have a baby under a window or by a heat source, so clearly these two walls are out. It's going to be a lot different pretty soon. I did ask for tips and tricks for this glucose test. I honestly don't know why I'm so nervous for it. I guess I've just heard mixed reviews. Some people pass out, some people throw up, some people love the way it tastes, some people can't get it down. I don't know, my office didn't really prepare me at all for what's about to happen, so I turned to the internet like usual. I haven't eaten since 6 o'clock last night. I had some water throughout the night. Haven't had anything this morning, so not even a prenatal. So I am fasting prior to my glucose. She's been moving like crazy, which makes me think she's hungry. So I have been fasting before my glucose test. I am planning on asking for the fruit punch flavor. I believe it's fruit punch, orange, and lemon lime. I am addicted to carbonation right now. I need a carbonated drink every single day or else I feel like my world is ending. So the idea of drinking the orange or the lemon lime, which is supposedly like a flat soda, I don't think mentally I would do very well with. I have a Stanley packed by the door so I don't forget it that just has ice in it. So I plan on, even though my office does chill the drink, I do plan on putting it on ice and drinking it through a straw. Those tips, both of those tips were highly recommended. And I do have a sleeve of Thin Mints with me because after I chug the drink in 5 minutes, I believe I have to fast for an hour, no water, anything, and then I get my blood drawn. Again, I'm going off of assumptions. My office did not tell me exactly what's going to be happening this morning. I heard the crash and the passing out happens at that hour. That's enough rambling. Let's go chug this sugary drink and hopefully not have gestational diabetes. Yesterday sucked. It's not the drink that's awful. It's the aftermath of the drink that is absolutely terrible. I went in for my 9 o'clock appointment. I had the option of orange or lemon lime. I wish they had fruit punch. That's what I was hoping I would get. But I went with orange and it really wasn't bad. I thought the drink could have been much sweeter in comparison to the complaints people have made. Was able to chug that in 5 minutes, had no issues. I did start to get nauseous right after chugging it, but not anything bad, just slight nausea. I read a book for a half hour, and I would say 30 minutes in is where it hit me like, this doesn't feel good. My brain felt fuzzy, like someone was tickling it. It just didn't feel right. I started getting very antsy and agitated. So I had to stop reading my book because I could not concentrate for the life of me. After waiting an hour with no food or water, nothing to drink, the phlebotomist called me in. She took 4 to 5 vials of blood. I can't remember exactly, but I was also being tested for the Rogam shot that I'm going back for tomorrow. She made a comment, or maybe I made a comment about how I can't wait to attack the sleeve of Thin Mints that was in my purse. She said, oh girl, no, you're gonna wanna go get a breakfast. I went across the street, got a Mocha Madness and a Portuguese on a jalapeno bagel. And I did feel a little lightheaded, but not anything where I was concerned with driving to my office. 2 hours after my test is where, holy shit, I would blink and see spots. My head was even more fuzzy. I was so lightheaded. I was very nauseous, but my stomach felt like it was going to burst. My body felt like it had so much energy and could go, 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 go. And my brain was giving the exact opposite. It was weird. I had to call my mom and sister to come pick me up so one of them could drive my car. I napped at my mom's house for the rest of the day. Really couldn't even eat like crackers. I couldn't sleep. I was up like maybe every hour using the restroom. My legs were very antsy and agitated. I was lunging around my house to try and stretch out my hip. The last 24 hours really fucking sucked. And the best part is I failed. You're supposed to be at 130 max is the threshold. I think I was at 165. So I failed by a lot. Not a little, not a couple points where it's close and they're like, oh, maybe we should bring you back. Like I failed. My mom had gestational diabetes when she was pregnant with me and my sister, so she's like, maybe it's hereditary, but the phlebotomist told me there's absolutely nothing I could have done to prepare for it. She said it has everything to do with your placenta. I just left my OB's office. I went and had my RhoGAM shot this morning. They took my weight. I am 138. They took my blood pressure, which has always been good, and they took my temperature. I guess when you have any form of medication that has to do with blood, they need to take your temperature. That's what she told me. Instead of having the injection in my butt, she did it in my arm. She said that both muscles can honestly handle it pretty well. So that was nice that I didn't have to get bent over a table. Then I sat there for 10 minutes just to make sure that I didn't have a reaction to the shot. I'm gonna go kick today's ass, and I'll check back in with you on Monday while I'm whining and crying and bitching and moaning about my 3-hour glucose retest. Good morning. We are on our way to my 3-hour glucose test. Because I recruited my husband. After last week, we do not agree that I should be driving after this. So he has graciously decided to sit there for 3 hours with me.
What a nice guy.
What a nice guy. I'm not nervous at all. I know what to expect with the drink and how I can potentially feel. If anything, I'm so parched that I want to go chug the drink. That way I can have water after. That's the only difference as far as what the nurse has told me, is I will be able to drink water for these 3 hours, where last time no one told me. Actually, no, she said I couldn't have any food or water for that hour. So I will check back in after to see if I'm still nice, bright, and chipper like I am now. We just got back from my 3-hour glucose test. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Last time I had the orange drink. This time my choices were fruit punch or lemon lime. I went with fruit punch, and that was a huge mistake. It was so bad. The phlebotomist told me it has more sugar, or I don't know, it's just a lot sweeter than the other ones. So that really stunk. It was really, really hard to get down and keep down. I definitely did not finish it in the 5-minute period. It definitely almost came up a couple times onto Jonathan. So I was very nauseous, I would say, the first half hour. But after that, I was just lightheaded. It was more of my limbs felt very light and were tingly. And if I walked, the nausea would come up. But just sitting there, I was fine. So the 3-hour test was not as bad as I thought it was going to be, especially compared to how the 1-hour test made me feel. We did go grab lunch after. I feel nice and full. I think it went okay, and I'll check back in a couple hours once my results come through. And then we'll know if it really went okay or not. Guess what? I passed. I passed. That's amazing. I'm amazing. So we can finally close this chapter and move on to baby shower, which is coming up in less than a week. We're done with glucose test. Let's move on to baby shower stuff in the next video.